Okay. And I'm Courtney, and we are Heard at the Bar. And today, we have a guest with us. We have Danielle Frank joining us. Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start talking.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on your fabulous podcast. Excited to be here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I am a 21 plus year wine industry veteran. Even though I'm only 21, so weird.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy, right? What's that? Oh, I know, I know. I say build brand loyalty at a young age. Yeah, well, I started my career 10 years working in the film industry, and then I decided to trade red carpets for red wine, and I segued into the wine and spirits industry. So I've been doing that for over 21 years. And in this time, I wrote a book called A Wine Lover's Guide to Parenting, the fine art of wine and wine management. So I'm excited to be on here to talk about all things wine industry and the book, of course, and to chat with you ladies.
Yes, we don't prepare for our podcast very often, but we both read your book.
I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we do talk about facts and not look things up.
I didn't hear what you said, Kristy. Oh, God. I'm having a hard time hearing Kristy.
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to say, Chrissy, your AirPods don't.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
No, I noticed it just then because I can hear her in surround because we're in the
Yeah.
same location. But mm-mm. Chrissy also got a new computer, so she's on a fancy new computer. So, the technology.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Here I am. Do we need to start again?
Before we use this product that we use for our podcast, we used to have to clap to try so that I could try to sync her video with my video while I was editing. And so we used to clap. So luckily now that we use Podcastle, we don't need to clap. It just does it for me.
And was it before we started taping? I think I was bragging about how prepared we were.
Yes.
Oh,
and welcome to Gen X teaching themselves how to podcast.
Exactly. It's a process for all of us.
Yep.
Join us on this journey. Okay, so what I was saying is that you have inspired me to do something that I have yet to do on the podcast, that I've actually prepared for this conversation. I've actually read and watched and researched you and all that stuff. Whereas in the past, I have not. So well done. Good job, Danielle.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope you didn't come across anything bad about me through the internet. No, I'm just kidding.
There was
not that there's anything bad to find.
I just found one sex tape. That was it. And it was very tasteful. I did not. I'm joking for those of you who don't know me.
No, wait, I lost
but
Kristy again.
What I loved...
Yeah, she popped off and on. She's back.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. Maybe my book's doing something. I'll move my book. But what I loved, and I think it was Us Weekly that said it was an outsider's guide to parenting, which I thought was really cool because it really does take a village. And I was thinking about that when I was preparing to chat with you, because we had a lovely conversation, a pre-conversation, about how you are aunt to biological nieces and nephews, but you also are aunt to so many other children in your life, which I just think is amazing that we all go through those phases where having someone who's not your parent, but an adult who's going to give you good advice to have in your corner to kind of escape to is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, also my unique vantage point as a beloved auntie, like you said, to not only my niece and nephew, but so many of my friends' kids call me Aunt Danielle. You know, an outsider perspective, witnessing the beautiful chaos of motherhood while bringing a refreshment, judgment-free perspective. For me, it was just my homage to all the great parenting I see around me. The book allows parents to feel seen, validated, less alone. And, this also is my contribution to trying to shape and make an impact on helping to make kids grow up as good humans, since the path of motherhood ultimately didn't end up happening for me. So,
Right.
it's my contribution. And I always say, it's sometimes when you're not on the battlefield in the trenches, it's a little easier from the sidelines, and especially working in the wine industry, seeing the fun parallels. It's a little easier to see that the grape juice you're drinking can turn into a lovely Cabernet.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's brilliant. I
My
also loved,
Oliver's.
that's Oliver.
Yes, this is Oliver.
Hi,
He
Oliver.
needed to be part of it, apparently.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, so
He
cute.
creeps in every so often. It'll be interesting 'cause he was actually sleeping just before we started taping. And so we are hoping that he was going to stay chill for this one.
No, he's like,
So
it's showtime. I'm coming
yeah,
on.
yeah, 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 yeah. I'm prepared. I'm ready for my take.
Yeah.
Um, so before we start talking about the book, what I would love to know, because there is the whole film industry, you were a publicist for the film industry. Like, who did you work with? Like, let's have some like some fun
Oh
gossip.
yeah.
Like, this
No,
is
I
as
mean,
close to famous people as I've gotten in a long time.
yeah, no, I definitely, I was 22, 23, living in New York City, working for Miramax Films, which at the time
Okay.
was in its heyday.
Yeah.
And it was the only studio really in New York. So as a New Yorker, native New Yorker, before I moved to LA, it was where I wanted to be. And I feel so blessed. I got so fortunate. I was in the international PR department. So, I traveled the world with, everyone and anyone, going to the Berlin Film Festival, Cannes Film Festival, Venice, press tours to Paris, Rome, London, with Nicole Kidman, Jude Law, Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, you name it, Samuel L. Jackson. Like, it was wild. It was, what a
Yeah.
time to be in my 20s,
And I was just going to
living in
say,
my,
in your 20s, that's
yeah,
ideal. Like,
living in my
Yeah.
studio apartment, but staying at the George Cinq in Paris, because that's where
Mhm.
they stayed. So we stayed where they stayed.
yeah.
Traveling around the world. It was an incredible time.
Yeah. I got like a little, both Courtney and I have little snippets of that kind of lifestyle. My
Mhm.
sister was in the music industry and she managed bands, but she had Nora Jones was one of her clients for a little while.
Yeah.
And so I was in New York when she was promoting her movie, Blue Moon, I think it was called. And she was on David Letterman. So I got to go to David Letterman and backstage and all that kind of, didn't meet David, but we're on a first name basis regardless.
Of course.
And when we were leaving David Letterman going to the hotel, the paparazzi followed us. And so we had a full on paparazzi chase, and how cool it was to just have a little snippet of that experience without it actually being in it. Cause I can't imagine that lifestyle is for the long run, really the best lifestyle to be in.
Yeah, we get to see the best side of it, right? We get to see the fun glitz and glamour, but don't have to deal with, people
Right.
taking snaps of us as we're putting a bite of food in our mouths when we're just trying to have a meal.
Yeah. And so you probably had to do a lot of problem solving being a publicist within that
Oh
world, a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
crisis management. It must have been very stressful.
Crisis management, and sometimes it's like, I don't know. That's why, so when I decided to leave Miramax, I really wanted to move to LA, and then I joined a personal PR firm representing
Okay.
talent directly, and that was short-lived. I quickly, the company I worked for was, let's just say, it wasn't run very well. But after that, I just quickly saw, and I knew when I was at Miramax, I never really wanted to do personal PR, but there were no studio jobs, and I was dead set on moving to LA, and I was kind of over New York and the weather and everything. I've always wanted to move to LA. So I took this job, and shortly after I realized personal PR is not for me because, like you said, it's like constant crisis management, and sometimes it's, I mean, what they would call a crisis is so trivial. It just, for me, that was like, I'm not a yes man, I'm a babysitter, and like
Yep.
this is what I have to like panic over is like not for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And then so then you got into the wine industry. Wine and spirits is what I read. So is it just wine or?
So yeah, so I left my PR job, and I'm very unlike me. I'm very type A. So to leave a job without having another job was very
Oh, wow.
unusual for me. But my sister was working for a company that worked for Bacardi USA in New York, and she knew of somebody that was hiring out here, and it was a big jump back in salary and position and everything. But I was like, it's great. You work from home, and well, I'll do this until I figure out what it is I want to do when I grow up. And 10 years later at Bacardi, Bacardi's just spirits. So they're, Grey Goose,
Right.
Bacardi, Bombay Sapphire. A great, great company. I was very fortunate to making such a leap into a new world to be working for such a great company. But
Yeah.
after 10 plus years, I realized I'm a big wine lover, and I wanted to expand my repertoire knowledge to not just spirits. So Moët Hennessy came knocking on my door, and it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And so I've been with them for over 11 years. And Moët Hennessy is wine and spirits, the best champagnes, Veuve Clicquot, Dom Perignon, beautiful wines like Cloudy Bay and Joseph Phelps, and then a ton of spirits, Hennessy, Belvedere, Glenmorangie. Yeah, it's great.
Nice. Well, we won't get into the political side of this, but we can't get many of those in Canada right now. They're off the
I
shelf still.
know.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Yeah.
crazy times we're
But we
living in
won't
right
go
now.
there. We won't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
there. Nope. We've already been blacklisted from the internet once. We're not going to do it again.
Yes. Yes.
So one of we thought that we'd kind of talk about what we both loved. So one of the points that I loved in the book was the let them fall in order to learn how to get back up. I love that. We actually, I think our last podcast, we even talked about, like, are we doing our kids favors by making sure they're in the safest car possible, that they don't have to know how to, like, change a tire, that they don't have to know what it's like to have to check the gas gauge and make sure that you've got enough in, like the car is just going to go no matter what, and everything's taken care of for you. Are we doing them any favors in that? And it's interesting because I feel like I'm also not 100%, but more on the outside of that parenting thing, and that both of my daughters are adults and live on their own. So I'm not dealing with the day to day, but I just loved that idea of they need to suffer. They're not suffer, but they need to have those experiences in order to learn how to solve problems, in order to learn how to manage life and be successful in the world.
Yeah,
And
I mean, a
then,
lot of that inspiration came from, one taking from my own upbringing. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, I'd like to think if I was a parent, my parent, I know it's easier said than done when you're actually in it, but I would like to think it was more of how I grew up. My parents were divorced. Um, and they gave me a lot of freedom. And like I didn't have a curfew growing up, but all my friends did. And I was the last of my friends to rebel because they gave me an extended leash, right? It wasn't like
Right.
coddle me. And so I didn't have any sense of urgency to rebel against them, and, to rebel or to get their attention. I mean, my friends had a curfew, they had to go home. So I was like, all right, I'm going home. And, I was the last one to, try to drink or have sex or
we
anything
lost you
like
again.
that. And we lost her.
Yes.
Um,
I have enough of it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the kind of the same way as I brought my kids up. So like my favorite I was reading the lesson 2 of the coddling, right? Same thing. I think that sometimes we coddle our kids too much. And I feel like I'm complete opposite. I'm like, here you go, drop. You need to learn. You need to learn how to do this. And I do see the difference between I have an 18-year-old and a 21, almost 22-year-old. I dropped him as in, here you go, 12 years old. Here's a little card that you can use to get yourself lunch for you and your sister, kind of thing. So he took care of her. And I've noticed the difference between her and him for actually surviving. Like, he's in Toronto, got his own condo, working three. He's a dancer, so he works three different jobs just to be able to pay the bills. And he's on the pavement trying to going to this audition, that audition, kind of thing. Whereas my daughter is in first year university. She can't find a job, but she's also very much like, I'm going here, here, here. Nobody's listening to me. Okay. Whereas he wouldn't take that. He'd be like, no one's listening to me. I'm going to get in your face and you're going to listen to me. Whereas she's just like, okay, nobody's listening to me.
And that's where, not only from my own upbringing, but I see it from the people around me. And that's again where I got this inspiration of, I see how these kids are prospering when you let them fall and they learn to get up on their own. I was talking about my two of my best friends, Mike and Nancy. They have the most extraordinary kid, Hudson. He's 14, and everybody that meets this kid is like, I host Thanksgiving here for all my friends that are in town, and they came with some of my adult friends, and everybody loves Hudson. So I took Hudson to an escape room the other day, and three of my friends from Thanksgiving were like, "We want to come. We want to hang out with Hudson. He can hang with, he talks to the
That's
adults.
awesome.
He's such a well-grounded, good kid, and it's because so much of what I saw how Micah and Nancy raised him was, giving him the opportunity to, be a little independent, learning to fall and to get back up. And it's really matured him in such a way that he's a kid and he enjoys kid things, but he also knows how to thrive in an environment of adults as well. And he's really growing up to be a spectacular kid.
Well, and giving kids the freedom to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Like, if we're always figuring it out for them, they're not going to have the ability to figure out their own stuff. And like, a client of mine, she said this to me once, that your goal is to teach them how to fly.
Yeah.
And if you've managed to do that, then you've done your job properly.
Yeah, I think part of that chapter is like, if you don't let them, how will they learn to wipe their what's when they're older?
Yeah,
If you're always
exactly.
doing it for them,
Exactly. Life skills are a requirement of life, of living, of surviving. And I
Absolutely.
often wonder if it's like an age thing, that I start to think like, oh God, like, how are we screwed? Because this younger generation is going to mess things up. They're not going to do things properly. They're not going to do it the way we did. And are we then going to end up in the senior home, struggling even more so because we're surrounded by kids that are done at 2:00 in the afternoon because they want their work-life balance. And so you're left on your own, old lady. Figure out.
Yeah, and then that is a great question because as kids, I don't know, we used to like stay outside on our bikes till dinner time,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
we learned to build forts, and we learned to I mean, what are the things that excited us when we were younger? I don't know, I'm totally aging myself, but like we played with like Lincoln logs. Like kids wouldn't even know what to do with that today. That would be so boring. But it's like we learned to make our own fun, even with like sticks and
Yep.
riding hopscotch on the streets. And
Yeah.
they're so stimulated by like their phones and things like that. They
Right.
don't know how to really, make their own fun out of what
Right.
they have.
Well, and so much of our fun was made make believe. We had to
Oh
come up
yeah,
with
like we play. I
our,
remember playing cops and robbers outside with nothing, just running between
Yeah.
cars and like.
Yeah.
I
or
don't think I've ever seen a kid do that
I
outside.
know, or
No.
kick the can,
Oh yeah,
kick this, and everybody run and hide.
and
Like,
read
how
everyone
fast?
run and hide. Yeah.
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 Crazy.
So, do you have a favorite chapter in your book or anything that you want to read for us?
I would love to read a chapter so your listeners get a feel and idea of the book.
Hmm.
As you guys know, it's written like a classic children's nursery rhyme, but it's clearly made for adults because we talk about wine. Um, but it is every time I use wine terminology at the bottom, it gives the definition. So
Yeah, I love that.
one of my favorite chapters is you don't want your kids to ferment. Now, the fermentation process in wine is when they convert sugar into alcohol. So, in this sense, it's when you think of sugar that's something sweet, alcohol that's harsh and biting. That's where this chapter comes into play. It's about teaching your kids manners. So, manners, manners, manners are the key to it all. These lessons need to start even when they're small. Teach them this from day one before they start to crawl. You don't want your kid to be the sour grape in the bunch and turn into a spoiled brat that kids want to punch. When they start talking, make sure they know thank you and please, and to always say bless you when they hear someone sneeze. Please and thank you are an absolute must. Without that, your child's a total bust. There's nothing worse than a child who has behavior that is crude, because it'll continue as they're older and become someone who's rude. People don't take kindly to and aren't nice to those with attitude, because it's very off-putting and puts others in a bad mood, oftentimes causing confrontation and leads to a nasty feud. Wanting to put a little bit of poison in your child's food. Is that really how you want your kids to be viewed? Wouldn't you prefer that there's someone who's wooed? Without manners, they'll ferment and turn into someone harsh and biting. They may turn into a kid who's rude, obnoxious, and always fighting. So teach your kids some manners and to have some heart and soul. Without that, your kid may well turn into an a-hole.
True story. True story. But what I like, so again, the combination of the wine terminology, harsh and biting. I hadn't realized that was a term used. And I enjoy wine, and I've been to Napa. So that's as far as my expertise goes in wine tasting and the wine world. But explain that terminology for me a little bit with the wine.
Yeah. So, well, the idea with this, what I love about doing it this style as well is one, I just love to make people laugh. I've always enjoyed rhyming. And I just love the idea of making wine knowledge accessible, right? There's nothing too technical in this book. It's, I have a lot of friends that, when we go to dinner and the wine list comes and they're like, here, you take a look at it. It's, wine is meant to be fun and it's meant to be approachable, and you don't need to be an expert. It's all subjective too, right? What I like, you may not like. People have different tastes, and but yeah, so ferment, as I said, is turning sugar into alcohol. Harsh is just a harsh wine is overly astringent due to exceptionally high levels of acid or tannins in the alcohol. So a lot of the definitions, it's all they're all relatively known terms, even just talking about the different styles, Cabernet, Merlot,
right,
Bordeaux. There's a lesson in here about, is your kid a mulled wine? Mulled wines are, I love this chapter because, as we know, bullying is a big issue in today's world. And a mulled wine is served heated, and it's served like a punch, and it's spiced. So this is about, is your kid heated, spiced, packing a punch? But it gives a mulled wine recipe, which is great for this time of year. Yeah. And at the back of the book, it gives a basic understanding how wine is made. So again, it's nothing too technical. It's all fun and approachable and accessible.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier. I'm one that doesn't actually drink wine. I'm interested. If I were to try to get into something, what do you recommend as like the baseline of where to go?
I mean, I think it's, it's subjective. If you're like I think in the warm weather, I like a nice white, but it's, some people like oaky Chardonnays. I don't. I love a nice Sauvignon Blanc. I love a Chablis. I love even a Pinot Grigio that makes some beautiful ones. But you're in Toronto. It's cold. You can start with a lighter wine like a Pinot Noir and build your way up like to a full-bodied cab. But the fun thing is tasting and seeing what you like. But you might enjoy I don't know what you drink, but you might enjoy the next book I'm working on, which is a whiskey lover's guide to dog breeds.
Ooh,
so
okay, yes. I definitely would like the yes. Whiskey's more my style. Definitely.
There you go. There's going to be for everybody.
Yeah,
yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well,
okay. Well, if you need Oliver to model for you, just let me know.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. My dog will get jealous, but
That's so cute. Oh, so you're working on your new book. When are you thinking that one might be out?
Look, this whole process of getting this book out, it's been a journey. I wrote this about 13 years ago,
Oh,
right at the
wow.
time that a book, yeah, right at the
Wow.
time that a book called Go the F to Sleep came out. I don't know if you've
Yep.
heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
wildly popular. And that sort of is what was my inspiration too. He opened the door for this new sort of genre of a adult children's book, writing it in
Hmm.
the style of a children's book, but made for adults. And, as I said, I love to rhyme. So it gave me that creative license to want to put this project together. But, it's really hard, as you can imagine, to
Imagine.
get published. And,
Yep.
Mm.
agents don't want you unless you've been published. Publishers don't want you
Hmm.
unless you have an agent. And the process back then was even more arduous. It was like everybody had a different process for printing it out, different cover letter, that it was less online. But this was always something that, when I've shared it with people, they love the book, they love the concept, they laughed out loud. And this has always been something that I've said, if I do nothing with this on my deathbed, it's going to plague me. So now there's something called hybrid publishing. So it's essentially self-publishing. I've paid for everything. I got the illustrator, but they're helping guide the process. So it was great. It was great for my first book. For the second one, now I know the process, so I could self-publish. But all the self-promotion it's a lot
Hmm.
of work. It's a full-time job on top of my full-time job.
Yep.
It's fun. I love doing all these podcasts, pitching myself to media, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the goal, I mean, wouldn't it be great if somebody gets wind of this current book and says, we want to
Hmm.
publish the next one? That would be
Yeah.
ultimately the goal. So I'm writing it. I'm not going to be, I don't know. I'm not going to quickly be so quick to self-publish. I want to get this book out there and hopefully
Yeah.
gain the attention of a publisher that wants to do it. Any publishers listening, it's
Exactly.
available. It's available to be published.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. It is.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the promotion of it has been a blast. As
Yeah.
much as it's a lot of work, and but particularly the podcast circuit. I love this. I love just having these organic conversations with people like you guys and your great podcast, chatting about life, chatting about things, and obviously integrating the story of my book into it.
Well, talk about the ego on us when you reached out. We're like, look at us. She found us. She wants to be on
Yeah.
our podcast. Oh my
Absolutely. You
God.
guys have a great podcast. And it's I look for those podcasts that, center on being candid and humorous conversations about life, midlife, parenting, body image, personal stories. That all comes into play with, what my book's about, or also what I'm about also with the career pivots, life pivots. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
engaged and I broke
We've
that
all
off.
been
So
there.
there's so many different, yeah, there's so many different elements. It's not just about the story of the book, but it's about the story of who we are as well.
Well, I think it's becoming more common. People in their 40s, 50s are shifting gears, which is not what used to happen either. Like the idea of changing a career when you're into your 40s or 50s was unheard of. But I feel like that's becoming more and more common as we're kind of coming into our own and realizing that we have more to offer to the world. People seem to be reinventing themselves at this
Yeah,
stage.
I love it. I mean, I say all the time, like, there's not one yellow brick road that leads to Oz. There's so many
Yeah.
different paths along the way. And that was the first defining moment for me, was the career pivot about 21 years ago when I left my career in the film industry. I just, you know what, I learned very quickly that if you just dwell in oh God, my life isn't where I thought it would be, it's not going to
Hmm.
propel you forward. When you lean
Yeah.
into it, when you embrace the pivot, as I love to
Yeah.
say, it's
Yeah.
going to propel you forward. And that was also what gave me the inspiration, and the courage when I was in this relationship for 6+ years. We were engaged, and it was over having kids. Actually, he has 2 kids from his first marriage, and at first he said he would have another kid. Ultimately, I realized he didn't want more kids. But it
Mm.
gave me the courage to leave and know, like, I don't need to be stuck in something I'm not happy about. I know that when life veers me off this path, just embrace the new path and go forward, and it's going to lead you somewhere great. And
Yeah.
it always has.
Yeah. Close the eyes and jump.
That's right.
Because we
Dive
were
head first.
born in the 70s and we learned how to survive.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
We knew how to we knew how to kick cans and make fun out of it.
And make it fun.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you, Danielle, for joining us today. It's been great to have you here, and hopefully we will propel your book and get you a publisher, and it'll all be good.
I love it. Well, thank you both for having me so much on your fabulous podcast. Oh, now my dog's trying to get in on the action. Nobody.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Thank you again for having me on. It's been so fun chatting with you ladies. You have a great thing going. Keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Happy New Year. And thanks for joining our community.
Happy New Year to you as well.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.